This sighting happened in Morgan County, Alabama, in August of 2012. The witness states that he was kayaking down a creek and that it was in the middle of the day. He said that this creek was deep in places and shallow in others, making for a good kayaking trip. He also said that he was used to seeing deer and turkey on his trips kayaking down this creek. Now he says when he came around a curve in the stream that he heard a splash in front of him. Thinking it was a fish jumping, he didn't pay it much attention. But then there were three more splashes, and he saw the last splash was made by a rock. When he looked into the direction of where the rock had came from, that's when he saw the creature. It was sitting on its knees like a human would. Now he says that the creature stood up. He says that when it stood up, that the hair on the back of his neck also stood up. They made eye contact for about 30 seconds, then it turned and ran into the woods. He said that he could hear it running through the woods, and that he has heard people and other things running through the woods before, but that it was different than anything he had heard before. That this creature didn't bother dodging brush and stuff that was in its way, that it just went right through it. He says that the creature appeared to be 7 foot tall and weigh about 400 pounds. It had wide shoulders, about 3, maybe 3.5 feet wide, while the hair on the creature was a mix of black and gray, with the hair being 4 to 5 inches long, while being matted with mud and other things. He said that it also had an odor of fish and mildew, with the head being conical in shape. Its nose was almost flat to its face. It appeared to be stocky with little or no neck. The witness says after seeing this, he headed back to his truck, and that later that night he went to where he had seen this creature. That he did some howls and knocks, and only getting knocks back. They were from a good distance off, but he did get knocks back. So what do you think the witness saw that day? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. This Bigfoot sighting comes out of Cass County, Texas, from August the 10th of 2004. The witness states that he was driving on Highway 59 going into Atlanta, Texas. He is a truck driver and he drives this route at least twice a week. It's a midnight run, he says, so it was late, 1:30, maybe around 1:50 when the sighting happened, and that he was the only one on the road that he could see. He says that he came to an S-curve, and that this curve went to the right and then swerved back to the left. He says he made the first curve, and when he was coming out of the second curve is when he saw a creature, or as he put it, a huge beast just stepping over a 6-strand barbed wire fence. Now this is when he says he slammed on his brakes, that he was stunned and scared to death of what he was seeing. He says that this was no man and that he was sure it wasn't a damn bear either, saying that this creature had to be at least 8 to 8.5 feet tall, and that this thing weighed at least 500 pounds. The witness says that he weighs 230 pounds, and that this creature was at the very least double his size, saying that the creature's hair was a very dark brown, and that it wasn't as long as he thought it would have been. That the hair was maybe 6 to 8 inches long. Now he said that the hair on this creature's chest and abdomen wasn't as thick as the rest of the creature. He says that he could see its eyes, nose, and mouth, and that there wasn't much hair there either. As he said before, when he first seen this creature, it was stepping over a 4-foot fence. And from what he could tell, it was easy for this thing. He says that the creature saw him, but didn't run away. It just turned its head and started walking down the fence line. He watched it for about a minute, and he says he knows he should have watched it longer, but that he was freaking out and scared, so he just drove on into Atlanta. The general area is indeed one that fits within what is thought to be a typical southern Sasquatch habitat, with creeks, marshes, and thick woods that surround the location of the sighting. So what do you think the witness saw that night? Drop me a comment down below and let me know. This sighting comes out of Manatee County, Florida, from July the 10th of 2017. The witness states that on Monday, July the 10th, that they were driving home from an overnight fishing trip at Tampa Bay, saying that they were about 2 miles from Parrish, Florida, that another car was ahead of them and that they were about 10 car lengths behind when they spotted a creature on the side of the road. It seemed to be watching the car in front of them, like it was waiting for it to pass so it could cross the road. As the car ahead of us passed the creature, it ran to the other side of the road. The witness said that this creature was running upright as it was crossing the road ahead of them, saying that the creature was on 2 legs for sure, that it was big and fast. The witness also said that this creature didn't have the shoulder movement that a human would have running across the road. The witness says that his wife, who was in the passenger side seat, seen this creature as well cross the road, saying that the car also filled with a horrible odor. Now, the sighting didn't last too long because they were going around 70 miles an hour, and that the passenger in the back didn't see the creature at all, and his granddaughter was asleep in the back at the time. The witness says that out of the 4 of them in the car, 2 had seen this creature and 3 had smelled this thing. The witness says this creature was dark in color, that it ran kind of stiffly without any arm movement that they saw, which they said it was fast and that the creature was across the road within 2 steps. Now, the witness described the smell as being strange, like a mix of polecat and a musky smell with swamp water and sulfur all mixed together. Now, both witnesses was kind of speaking over each other when describing the smell. Now, once the witnesses got home, the wife called the Manatee Sheriff's Office and filed a report, saying that the Sheriff's Office told her that they sometimes get these reports from the area of the county. Now, I have a couple of pictures here, one that shows the area of the sighting and one that is a drawing of what the witnesses say they saw that night. Here's the first picture. It shows you the road and terrain of the area, which doesn't look like a place where you would expect a creature like this to be. But from what the sheriff's office told her, there have been more sightings around this area than their sighting. Now, this next picture is said to be a drawing of what they saw that night. This creature should have been well lighted, with the tail lights from the other car in front of them, and with their own headlights shining on this creature as well. They should have been able to tell what this thing was. They would be able to tell if it was on 2 legs or not, and just how big this creature was. From what they said about the sighting, they didn't get the best look, but what they seen seems to be what I would expect them to. So yeah, I think they saw something very strange that night. and it sounds a lot like a Bigfoot type creature to me. So what do you think? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. This sighting comes out of Williamson County, Texas, from June the 23rd of 2017. The witness states that he knows that there will be many people out there that won't believe him. He says he knows this because he is still trying to come to terms with it himself. He says that he didn't plan on posting anything online about what he had seen, that he was trying to pretend that it was just a dream, but that the next day the nightmare continued to haunt him. He says that he just couldn't get it out of his head what he had seen and heard the night before. So he decided to make and write this report while it was fresh on his mind, hoping that this will get the images off his mind. The witness said that he just wanted to come out and say it. Last night, on Friday, June the 23rd of 2017, he saw a very large and tall thing in their backyard, and that it would seem to have been the being otherwise known as, dare he say it, Bigfoot. He says it sure sounds crazy, but that it's true. He also said he considers himself to be someone who will debunk extraordinary claims by other people when it comes to UFO sightings like the Loch Ness Monster and yes, even Bigfoot sightings. That he just never believed in this crazy stuff. The witness states that he was listening to a song when he heard an unusual howling. It was a strange type sound, saying he first thought that something was wrong with his speakers, but that the weird sounds continued even after he turned them off. It almost sounded like a hoot, though much deeper, when he noticed that their 3 dogs had made their way to the back door and was pacing nervously back and forth. Then they started howling back. It was very unusual in that he had never seen them do this before. He states that he thought it must have been another dog or one of the wild coyotes that had been seen in the area. At this point, he didn't want his dogs to get out and maybe get rabies or even eaten. So he picked up a broom to chase whatever it was away. Now he said that this is where everything started happening rapidly. As the dogs went for the door, he tried to shut it back, but one of his little dogs squeezed through. That the dog was moving at breakneck speed towards the creek in the backyard. That's when he noticed a large creature down in the creek area. It seemed to be looking in their direction, and he said it had glowing greenish yellow eyes. Then the creature quickly turned and ran to the south along the creek until it disappeared. He says that he was stunned by what he had seen, thinking that he just had some kind of little nuisance creature that he could run off with a broom, to this large imposing creature that he saw. For the few seconds that he saw the creature, he says that it was very tall with hair all over most of its body. It was also bipedal and very fast for a creature that size. His wife had heard the noise coming from the dogs. She opened the back door just to see him holding their smallest dog next to the fence. When she asked him what was he looking at, he said he didn't know how to respond to her. While they both were standing there, they heard another very loud howling hoot. He says it's a big deal for him to share this encounter here, knowing most people will not believe him. He knows because he was one of those people that he would not have believed it if he hadn't seen it for himself. But the weirdest thing was how the dogs were acting. kind of acting like they had just seen an old friend or something, with the howls and their tails wagging like they were. He says again that he had never seen them do that before that night. So what do you think this man saw that night? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you can keep up with all our newest videos. And thanks for watching those endless mysteries.